Probably.
All right, I'd like to call this Chaska City Council meeting to order on Monday, January 7th, 2025 at 7 o'clock, right on the dot. Can you, everyone please rise and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, Elise, will you call roll, please?
Councilmember Hatfield. Here. Councilmember Benish.
Present.
Councilmember Shevlin. Here.
Councilmember Brown.
Here.
Mayor Hubbard.
Here. All right, next on the agenda here is to adopt the agenda. Are there any changes or things on the agenda? Otherwise, I'd like to entertain a motion for someone to make to adopt the agenda.
Motion to adopt agenda.
All right, got a motion by Councilmember Hatfield
Second.
and a second by Councilmember Benish. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Motion carries. All right. All right, next we have visitor presentations. So if there's anybody here that's not on the agenda for an item, feel free to come up and speak. Anybody here? No? Okay. We're under an agenda item. All right. Okay, so moving right along, we have approval of the previous meeting minutes from the 6th of January. Are there any corrections or things needed to be changed on the minutes? Otherwise, I'd entertain a motion to approve.
Motion to approve the minutes from last week.
All right. Motion by Councilmember Benish,
Second.
second by Councilmember Graf. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed, nay, and motion carries. Okay. And then next on the agenda is consent items. These are items that can certainly be pulled off the agenda if they need questions or more attention, but anybody have any questions on the consent items at all?
No, go ahead.
Sorry, I just had a question about the one for the premises gambling permit for Ducks Unlimited. It mentions Heartbreakers, but then it also mentioned a different bar, unless it got edited. Let me see here.
Yeah, the premise permit is only for the resolution is the guiding document, and that's only for Heartbreakers.
Okay. Okay, I thought
Sometimes staff reports that can, if they used an old staff report, it maybe kept the name of another premise in there.
I think that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, but this one is specifically for Heartbreakers.
Yeah. Okay. There it does say Heartbreakers twice. So
Yep.
I thought I saw a different bar the first time I read it. So, okay. All right. That was all.
All right.
And I was just gonna comment and thank Councilmember Graf for stepping up to serve on Southwest Transit. A lot of big things happening with Southwest Transit right now, so your kind of knowledge and extensive history serving will be very, very important over the next few years as we make some pretty big moves that we'll probably share with the council more sooner. Probably should have a meeting on, but very exciting. So thank you for doing that.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you. And applaud the city on their 2025
Yeah.
pay equity report passed flying colors, which is wonderful to see. So wonderful. Any other questions or comments at all on the consent? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve consent.
Motion by Hatfield,
Second.
second by Shevlin. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. And then moving right along to our action items. So first action item 8A, request for proposal for architectural and engineering services for the municipal service building. Take it away.
Yeah. Mayor and council members, the item in front of you tonight is sort of exciting. This is our first step in moving forward with addressing the municipal service building and some of the needs that we have there. The one thing that happened this month that really sort of kicks us off is for council members who were here last year, you'll remember we entered into a purchase agreement to purchase a lot for our new municipal service building. We have now closed on that property. We closed on that in the middle of January. And so now we're going through the process then of actually choosing an architect to move forward through the process. So I'll turn it over to Lease to just sort of talk a little bit about what to expect in that process and when you guys will actually see us back here sort of with the next step.
Thank you, Matt, Mayor and council members. This will follow a very similar process. So for previous council members, this will follow a similar process to what we did with the public safety facility. So the first step tonight is asking you to authorize us to go out and have an RFP out on the street looking for services for architectural and engineering so we can build the facility. And so tonight we would ask for that authorization. We would actually take this out to the public on Wednesday, and it would be out there for about 3 weeks. In that time, we would offer a pre-proposal meeting for any architects, engineering, other consultants that might seek to have their services as part of this can come in, and we would do a pre-proposal meeting with them so they can learn more. And we actually plan to hold this at the Municipal Services Building. And while we're not necessarily rebuilding on that site, it gives them idea of what's happening up there today. So then we would have those RFP submittals due February 19th. We have developed an internal working group made up of staff members from Public Works, from Electric, Water and Sewer, Planning, Engineering, and Administration that will review the proposals that come in and then conduct interviews with those selected firms. And that'll happen all toward the end of February. The intent would be is that we bring this, a selected architect that the group recommends back to the council on March 3rd. If we're able to follow that timeline, and it is an aggressive timeline, we would plan that we would actually begin right away with different, the different user groups. So our Public Works, our Electric, our Water and Sewer groups really engaging with the consultant and the architect during that time. We'd then move into the design phase, at which time you would come back and see a concept plan. So like we expect from private developers, we follow that same process for planning. So we would come back to the council with a concept plan for the site. And then we would continue working through and bring back the preliminary plan, looking for your feedback and approval, and then finally ending with a final plan by the end of this year. By keeping on this timeline, it allows us then to go out to bid for this time next year, which, as we know from last year, when we were going out to bid for the public safety facility, we received very good bids on that. So this is kind of the prime time. I will note that something we have talked about is keeping our current or our construction manager that we're using with the public safety facility, RJM, as part of this process. That way they can be engaged not only in the architectural selection, providing us with things that we should be thinking about, but then also the design process. So when we get out there and build, they know what we're looking for. They are able, we have a good communication. So with that, staff is recommending that the council have a motion to approve issuing a request for proposal for architectural and engineering services for the Municipal Services Building.
RJM has been really great. Will they have the bandwidth to or even though the one project will be kind of wrapping up with public safety, but there'll be some overlap, at least in the design phase.
Yeah.
They have the bandwidth for that.
Yeah.
We'll likely have it different. So we have one primary contact that's sort of the overarching supervisor for our Drew, who's our site manager for the public safety center. More than likely, we're going to have a different like site manager for the municipal service building, just because they wouldn't have the bandwidth to do both of them. But the good thing is sort of that overarching supervising manager is the same for both projects. And the good thing about having them involved early on in the process, especially with the architects, is sometimes it's about knowing what questions to ask the architect or what things to bring up. Because obviously they're much, there's probably a million different ways you can construct a facility. Somebody like RGM has been through it before, and so they've seen what works, what doesn't work, what's more cost effective for us to do, what's going to be something that might be great in the short term, but it's going to be a long-term maintenance nightmare. So that's why we really like to have them be a part of this. The other thing it allows us to do is when we do go out for bids, we don't have to go out and get a general contractor. We can actually go out and go out and get the best value for every subcontractor that's out there. Sometimes when you go through every time when you go through a general contractor, you end up with whatever they get.
Right.
And that may be priced accordingly, it may not be. By us sort of sticking with this construction management type of process allows us to get the best value from every subcontractor that we get.
Is there a goal to keep a uniform look of all these new buildings? So I know it used to be red roofs. I know those have not been
Yeah,
going
no.
well, but like a similar, theme for all public buildings.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a big discussion with this, because, that was, back in the mid-80s, that was really sort of a discussion at that point is let's have city facilities all have a similar type of look so that when you go to one, you know what it
You know
is. Actually, the only building that didn't have a look was our municipal service
Yeah.
building. So it's funny, when I tell people to go to our municipal service building, they always go to our water treatment plant.
Mhm.
Because they think that's the municipal service building, because they look at the municipal service building, like, that looks like a storage shed.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I think that's gonna be a big discussion with it. The signature on the existing buildings has been the red standing seam roof.
It doesn't hold up.
That
well.
doesn't,
Yes.
that doesn't keep water out of buildings. So I don't know that will be the signature, but something will be.
Okay.
Yeah. The other thing I'll mention is that with to me, there's sort of two processes here, because we're both the client, but we're also going to be an applicant through the planning process. And so, like Elise said, we're going to go through the same planning process that we would, if we were private developers. So there's a concept plan as the first stage of that, but we're also the client. And so before we even get to that stage, we'll be bringing back to you guys, what we're sort of, coming to a consensus on, make sure that you guys look at it and say, yeah, we think that's great, or no, we think we need to look at it again. Have a pretty good estimate of pricing before we actually go through the concept plan phase, so that we don't, start going down a road and get so far down the road that it's hard to sort of back up. So we'll be doing that as part of the process really early on.
Makes sense.
Any other questions or comments? I mean, this is just very exciting.
It is.
It's kind of coming to fruition here, and it's great. The timeline is, like you said, ambitious, but I think it's a solid timeline, and I'm excited to see it move along. And it's nice to hear input from all the different city departments on kind of what their needs are, and it's nice to see that they're going to be coming to the current facility to kind of see where things are sitting and what the future can hold for that. So
Yeah, we, just like with our public safety building, we hold our meetings every Thursday morning at 9 a.m. We're going to be holding our weekly meetings for MSB every Wednesday morning at 8:30. And we have decided right off the bat, it's going to be at the MSB, because whoever's involved with it, they need to be able to show what's working and what's not.
yeah.
Ask them to get that one piece of equipment in the back corner out and time them how long it takes to get them out, right?
Yeah.
Well, wonderful. Well, if there are no more questions on this, we have, let's see.
I can make a motion to approve issuing a request for proposal for architectural and engineering services for the new municipal services building.
All right, so I have a motion by Councilmember Hatfield.
Second.
All right, and I've got a second by Councilmember Benish. Any other questions or anything along those lines? Otherwise, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed, same sign. Motion carries. Okay, moving along to 8B, adopt resolution 2025-10, ratification of bond sale by Chaska EDA, lease revenue refunding bond series 2025B.
So Mayor and council member, the items in front of you tonight is actually something you've seen before, actually twice. You saw it on December 16th and January 6th, when we came, talking about debt that we needed to sell. And, in essence, what we did, or what the council did at that time, was to set what's called a parameters resolution. So it basically said, if we go out in the market and if we're able to get the financing that we need within a certain range of interest rates, that we'd have the authorization to move forward, because sometimes the market can change real quick. And, a slight change in interest rate can mean a big difference in what we're actually paying back. So we've been using sort of this method the last couple of times for financing. It's really worked out well because it's allowed us to be able to get into the market exactly when it's the right time to do that. But we do have to come back and have you guys ratify what was done for the actual financing. So we do have Chris Hogan here from Baker Tilly, and she can talk a little bit about the sales and what happened. And I will mention that this is action that we need to take both in the city council and the EDA as well tonight, because it was an EDA lease revenue bond that we sold. So I'll turn it over to Chris.
Mayor and council members. Chris Hogan from Baker Tilly. I serve the city as the municipal advisor. Like Matt said, I'm here tonight to just present the results of the sale that happened on January 8th. The Economic Development Authority issued and sold bonds to DA Davidson for $6,125,000. The bonds did get a rating, which is a normal process for a competitive bond issuance, or a public sale, I should say. And they did receive a rating of AA-, which is a affirmed rating, which lease revenue bonds have received under prior issues. This issue is a little different. It was a refunding. It's not new money. So it refunded a prior issue. In fact, it refunded the EDA's 2015 B bonds, which was originally issued to finance various projects, park projects. So this financing, we were able to take advantage of the interest rate market, which has been kind of difficult to do in the last couple of years, to actually hit the market and refund an issue and have debt service savings. But we were able to accomplish that. So the refunding accomplished two goals. It restructured the original bonds. The original bonds had a debt service reserve fund tied to it. So we were able to use that and not have to use that money and not have to keep holding it in an account. So we were able to use that to reduce the new borrowing. And with that, we were also able to shorten the repayment term by a year. So that created some savings. And with the interest rates overall, had average annual savings around $42,000 a year, with gross overall present value savings of little over 1.3 million. So it was a very good sale. We're happy that we could get that done, and congratulations to the city and the EDA for that. And so with that, I would recommend approving the resolution ratifying the sale of the EDA's $6,125,000 lease revenue refunding bond series 2025B. And I'll also take any questions if anyone has any.
Does anybody have any questions for Chris?
I have one real quick addition. So that's in our curling and events center. So that was the financing that we did in 2015 for that. So one of the good things is having that savings. We'd always sort of built into our community building fund that there'd be, after debt services paid off, that there'd be additional dollars that come in to help keep up with the facility, keep it in good shape. The savings here allows us to take that and put it right back into the facility now. So, we need to replace the carpet in there. We need to replace, when we replace carpet, we need to replace the chairs because they match the carpet. And, so it just gives us a little bit more flexibility with those types of things.
Wonderful. Okay, well, no questions at all. I'd like to entertain a motion.
Motion to adapt the resolution 2025-10 ratification of the bond sale by Chaska EDA lease revenue refunding bonds series 2025B.
All right, so we have a motion, by Councilmember Shevlin.
Second.
All right, second by Graf. Any other questions? Otherwise, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Carries. Thank you.
Thank
All right, moving right along, that ends our action items for the evening. So on to bills. Anybody have any questions on bills at all?
Just have one question on page 2 of the report, Archer Mechanical. I don't even know how to say that, what that is.
Next week.
Desiccant cassette. Is that right? What is that?
It's a part of our dehumidifying system in our ice rink.
Oh, okay.
So in particular, our rank 2
No.
really needs dehumidification.
Interesting.
If we have had and this has been a while, but we've had instances in the past where that dehumidification system's gone down. And in the summertime, it looks like pea soup in there.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, so it's an important piece of equipment for us to have, and this particular part of it is broke down. So,
Obviously, it needs to be replaced.
That was my only question.
Can you say it for us again?
No,
yeah.
I cannot.
Any other questions from any other council members? All right, well, with that, we'll entertain a motion to pay the bills.
Motion to pay the bills.
All right, motion by Councilmember Hatfield,
Second.
second by Councilmember Benish. Roll call vote, please.
Councilmember Hatfield,
Yes.
Councilmember Benish,
Yes.
Councilmember Shevlin.
Yes.
Councilmember Graf,
Aye.
Mayor Hubbard.
Yes. Sorry, John.
Has to be different.
Let's try to shake things up over here.
Legacy to live. by.
All right. Well, that moves us along to other business. So let's start with Mr. Councilmember Groff, since he
Sure.
wants to be unique.
Well, I had this long list because you told them it was gonna be a short meeting. No. Just a couple questions, or comments. First of all, just as a notice, like, right, we had our city council had a strategic planning event this last week, Thursday and Friday. And, you know, it's my, what do you say? We didn't have one because of COVID.
Yeah.
So it's my 5th one. I just think it's really fun to, I got asked at work, like, how was that? I'm like, so this is my answer. It's really fun to get together the department leads, and I really like the idea, like we started to with having them bring someone with to kind of expand that knowledge. I think it's one, it lets us get to know more people. It truthfully, it's also that we talk about this line of succession and like building future talent. It helps do that. It was a great opportunity to interact with our new council members, so I appreciated your time and effort there. And you know, Hugh Life and that group, they just do such a good job, right? Like pieces of paper, I'm always amazed with the magic spray that everything sticks to the wall. You know, simple minded, I just like simple things, right? But just, it's a good event. And like I said, it is, you know, I think sometimes, whenever someone chooses to pay attention to city council or city things because something is in their neighborhood, or someone says, hey, did you hear? It's sometimes easy to think like, well, where did this come from, or where, you know, and does the city have a plan? And the answer is we do. Like, we go through this process all the time, have that conversation. You know, obviously sometimes things change, right? COVID happens, and anything you planned the previous year kind of got, you know, changed, right? But it was just a really good event, and I appreciate everyone was able to attend, and the groups and all the council members for the attendance. So there's that. I had a question about ice rinks, because we've had this ongoing conversation about the history of ice rinks and ice. So what is this? I believe I've seen they opened up 2 weeks ago,
About 2 weeks ago.
about 2 weeks ago.
Clover Ridge, right?
Clover Ridge, and then we have,
Oh, Lions is open now.
we have Lions, and then also the lake out here too,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
Goo Trail.
And I suspect this week's going to be a challenging week for that.
Actually, this week won't be too bad. Once you sort of, you know, it's only gonna get up to 40.
True.
So,
Well,
or
it's
a
49,
little
yeah,
bit
it's
more.
Like a
49.
50 on one
Yeah.
of those. Okay. I mean, like I said, I'm just curious because so 2 weeks in we're, running and
Yeah.
any early returns of usage? I know that sometimes it's informal, but
I've used it.
it's good. All right. there we go.
When me and Lincoln went down to the
There you
lake
go.
trail down here on a Friday night a couple weeks ago.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, no, you make a good point because, one of the for the new council members, one of the discussions that we had is, I don't know, it's probably been 3 or 4 years that we've gone out and actually tried to establish rinks and it just never got cold enough to do it. And you'd be amazed at how expensive and time consuming it is to make these rinks and then nothing comes of it. There's been a lot of discussion from cities around the state about whether or not they're going to continue outdoor rinks. And the city of Minneapolis last year decided to take a bunch of rinks that are flooding out of their sort of arsenal. So we are trying to keep track of how many people actually use it. I can tell you anecdotally, I drive past the Clover Ridge one every day and after work. So it's when kids would be out there. There's usually 4 or 5 kids that are out there playing. The lake one, 1 or 2 people, going around there. So we don't have huge numbers of people that utilize it.
Yeah, I just, and, just to add commentary, right? I think when we've had that conversation as a council prior, I think, I drive around neighborhoods too, and you see the cost of, I don't know how much it costs. You think they're somewhat cost effective? I'm not sure. The people put the rinks in their own yards,
Oh, yeah.
right? That industry is booming, right? Where it's just like, I don't have to walk down the street and get in the car, right? But walk, it's in my backyard. You see the holding pond game. I mean, I drive by one that someone must have donated their snow blower because it just sits down there the whole time so they can start it up and plow the snow off, right? And I also just think the sport, right? You just think of the number of people that play hockey in the ice time and in the indoor ice versus like, do they really go outside other than, it was hockey in Minnesota last weekend or last Friday at Valley Fair. But so yeah, it's just interesting because changing weather patterns, coldness, and then like I said, you're right. It is as much as simple of freezing water and make ice. It is not a cheap venture by any means.
Not if you want it to be usable.
Yeah, correct. So I just think it's important to understand that too. So if you're at home and you're worried about that, don't panic. Not change anything yet, but just kind of those observations of length and time. And it is hard to predict because who knows? We might get a cold stretch here and a good solid month, 6 weeks, it'd be great. We'll see. Some of us probably would prefer to warm up.
Outdoor pools, yeah.
And that's okay too. So, I think through if I had anything. I think that's good. I know there's other stuff, but I'm confident that I want to steal everyone's thunder. So I'll being first, sometimes you choose wisely. So
I suppose.
I'll go that way. I'm good. Thank you.
All right, well, thanks. Okay, Councilmember Shiplin, have anything you
I would just echo I thought the strategic planning meeting was wonderful. I really appreciated I know that people thought they got long, but the presentations from department heads, because it was the first time I really got exposure to some of like what water does and all the water main breaks and things like that they have to keep up with. So I thought it was extremely helpful to get a background on all the things that we will be voting through the rest of the year. And then I just want to give the police and fire a shout out. I know they're really cramped where they are. They've been, relocated for the time being, but they are still always out in the community. I saw fire responded to a couple things last week that were pretty big and they, definitely did well. I know last night there was a mushroom dealer in my neighborhood that got stopped and arrested right there and got caught on camera by one of the neighbors. So I just appreciate that, the vote of confidence by the public service people to make sure that safety is a priority and that we're seeing it around town.
It's been a strange week I also had the
Yeah.
sprinter.
Yeah.
Yes, yes.
You too.
Yeah,
Was
Yeah, I
that?
almost felt like they were connected and then they was like, no, those are
Yeah,
2 separate
yeah,
incidents.
yeah.
So it's been very busy for
Yeah.
our PD.
But they've been stepping up amazingly. I haven't heard anything that didn't get done and anything that suffered because of, so, when I heard Ryan's presentation about only 2 to 3 on at a time, that makes you think like, well, 2 of them are handling this, but they seem to manage it. So
Mhm.
really kudos to the public safety teams.
Yeah, wonderful, awesome. Okay, moving on to.
Yeah, I will agree with Councilmember Shevlin and Gra about the retreat that we did. It was very enlightening and eye-opening and energizing, and I felt like I learned a lot more about the city than I had learned in the last, 6 years that I've been here. So that was awesome, and excited to see where our strategic plan takes us, and looking forward to helping implement it and make Chaska successful.
You bring up something that, and I can't remember if Kevin Wright brought this up or not, at the retreat, but, people, we heard from applicants tonight about people who have lived in the community for 3 years or 5 years and want to get more involved in community and understand that. We have our police academy, so people can get a good understanding of our public safety, but one of the things that Kevin's working on is a citizens academy. So that's really getting at having each of our departments actually go and not just sort of talk about what they do, but actually getting people out to experience some of the things that they might do. So, it might be ride along in the plows, or, going seeing what a water main break is, or, those types of things. So that is something in his new role that is on his list of things that he's working to put together.
Cool. Wonderful. All right, moving along.
I also had on my list to thank the police department and fire department. It was a very busy weekend specifically. I always appreciate the shared information on our social media channels, and just even when it brings some levity to just some of the more like makes you wonder things, but they always do such a fantastic job, and this weekend really just highlighted that because they were very busy. I also wanted to just thank everyone that came to the MLK breakfast, and congratulations to the recipients of that award, the Human Rights Award, Officer Julie Janke, and Beyond New Beginnings, both very, very, very deserving. And it was just a great breakfast again. I don't know why that day every year is so cold. But
Because it's January 15th.
I know, it's just always so cold that morning. But I'm always just like thrilled with how many people still come. It's early in the morning, it's freezing cold, but the community really shows up, and it was a really good turnout. It was awesome to have the mayor kick it off, and have Steve from the chamber, and amazing speaker, Shayla, and it was just a really great morning. I always walk away feeling really invigorated about how Chaska just really wraps their hands around our community and all the different, everything we have here. So just a great breakfast. And the Human Rights Commission does an amazing job with that. So thank you to them. A few other things on the retreat note, a lot of it was said or was going to repeat, but I also want to just thank the staff, because you guys put a lot of energy into that. And on the first day of the retreat, they bring what I like to call their stunt doubles. The department heads do. And I really love that day. I always like spending time with the department heads, of course, but when they bring their kind of +1s, or sometimes +2, +3s, we just get a different perspective, and I really appreciate that. And they're always willing to share their perspectives, and it's just really good. And then day 2, getting into the nitty-gritty. I always just walk away from that feeling really good and excited about our future. And I think this retreat was no different. So there's that. And then some upcoming things. I'll mention this at our next meeting too, but the Downtown Business Alliance is having a pretty big meeting in February with working with Max Musicant on kind of developing an activation plan for downtown. So we're really hoping to have a lot of businesses. So this is my invite to all the downtown businesses to be there. It's going to be an important one. We'll also have the county there to give some probably quick updates on the 4110 process, or project rather. And that's here on the 14th at 7:30. So hopefully a lot of businesses can make it. Of course, if you guys would like to attend, that invite still stands. Just let staff know so we can post it if there's a quorum. But that'll be a pretty big one. So I hope the businesses can attend that. And then My last thing was, earlier this week, Southwest Transit announced our new route, the 686, that'll be kicking off at the end of March. And that's a little bit of a change to some of our, it's very exciting. So we're extending service from, Eden Prairie Station all the way to, Mall of America, the airport. It'll be a little bit of a change in how we do that. Right now, airport comes to your door. With this, you'll be able to park at the Southwest Station in Eden Prairie and take a ride from there.
Car overnight or?
Yep, you can pay it, so it'll be
Okay.
less expensive than maybe closer to the airport, so there will be a charge, but you can leave your car overnight, or if someone wants to drop you off and you want to take the bus from there.
Sure.
So it's all along the I-494 corridor, so Mall of America, Best Buy headquarters, Southtown Shopping Center, Normandale Lake Office Park. So that'll be kicking off end of March. We'll keep the normal services through the end of April to give some like transition period. So that is a pretty big new thing for Southwest Transit. So I wanted to share that. And I think, oh, and I'll let you do the last one, the fire department thing. That's all I had.
Oh, okay.
I felt like I talked
What
a lot.
is it?
I talked a lot, so I'll leave that for you
Okay, yeah, no, all right.
or
Well,
whoever.
okay, yeah. Elise, do you have anything?
Just one thing to share, I think if you remember back, before the new year, there, the council held a public hearing and approved an application to the state for what's called Minnesota Investment Funds, for Beckman Coulter. We were told today that they received 1.25 million.
Oh, wow, that's
That-
amazing.
So, amazing.
He stole her thunder.
No, I'm glad you reported. I had asked Matt, I was like, is it okay if I mention this, cause I didn't know,
Oh, I'm so
prior-
sorry.
No, you're
I just thought it was
fine.
funny when you started saying it. I'm just like, oh.
Yeah, no, it's all good. I mean, the whole goal is that it gets out to the public because it is a wonderful piece of news today and just, yeah. So.
Very exciting, so, sorry.
Way to, no, you
No, I
never
know.
have anything usually, so I'm grateful that you felt comfortable to share that, so.
I don't have anything else, so.
And then there we go.
Doesn't anymore.
And then we shut it down. Christoph, anything? Okay, Matt?
Well, first of all, I want to thank everybody for their time for the retreat, because I mean, again, I said it last week, we're at work already. You guys have to take off work. And so I don't take that for granted. And sometimes the hardest part of a retreat is actually finding a time that works for everybody. And this is the first year ever that the first dates I threw out actually worked for everybody. I was like, what? It just sort of threw me
You're
off
welcome.
a little bit. Yeah.
I think I was the problem a few years.
Yeah. One thing that Councilmember Hatfield talked about was appreciating that, especially the plus ones were willing to share their experiences. I just want to point out that the reason they're willing to share their experiences is because you make it an open place to be able to do that. I can tell you that there are a lot of places that employees would not feel comfortable talking about, here are some of the issues that we're dealing with. Here's the challenges that we do, because they might feel like, that it's viewed as a weakness or something, instead of saying, no, let's get this out on the table, because the more we understand about our issues and the things we do, the better we become. So I appreciate that, and just, recognize that's why people are open in that. And then finally on the retreat, there was, because our presentations went so long, which I think is good, we did cut off one block of stuff at the end of the retreat, which was really sort of taking the tasks that we need to do and what are sort of our 2-year priorities, getting those on a calendar, and then looking at our 90-day priorities. So staff is going to be doing that, aiming to do that in the middle of February. And we're going to target to try to have March 3rd's meeting when we come back for a work session. That night, we are going to do a tour of the public safety facility. But we have probably a pretty light agenda that night. So it'd give us some time to be able to get our meeting done. And then we could go in and just sort of report out and then get your guys' feedback on sort of the final piece of that. So we will get that finished up.
Can I just say something?
Yep.
Every year, we do that process, we make that timeline. And I feel like we have to remind you that you can't do it all at once and to make sure to not overload yourselves. So I'm just gonna be that reminder that as you guys sit down to do that, don't overload yourselves.
Right.
Like, we have a lot to do, it'll all get done, but I always appreciate you guys are always so willing to like take on a lot, and I just being a person that also does that, having that reminder, someone to say, don't do that. Don't feel like you have to do more than you feel like you have the bandwidth for, so.
I think it was fun just to see the city workers in their real personalities come forward. I mean, the way you guys pick on engineering and that he takes it is hilarious. And, you know, Brian raising his hand for everything, or, you know, it's just a lot of those things where you got to see their authentic selves, and they were more than the person behind the window at a certain building. Was really fun to see.
We tease Matt way
Yeah,
too
you do.
much. Yeah.
Oh, true. You know, and then the fact that there was raffle tickets every time you turned
Oh,
around
yeah.
available was also, you know, a good thing. did I win? I have to find out.
It's not
Not yet.
until this weekend,
Yeah.
until you find out.
This weekend.
That's all. I have.
Okay. Yeah, just to close out, I suppose, echoing all the comments up here from everybody. The council retreat was wonderful. It was great to hear all the input and the openness of that input. I think it helps drive everything forward, and, you know, having this be our 6th year.
Yeah, it was our 6th.
We all pretty
Get
much
it together over
joined,
there.
pretty much we at the same time. I was a few months behind. It's, you know, I don't know anything different, but it is, you can see how well everyone works with one another, and it really shines through, and the ability to get things done. And so that just benefits our community as a whole. And you know, that saying that, you know, all high tide raises all boats. It's the same goes. So yeah, thank you for everyone who participated in that. And a couple other things, we had a new business open in between the last meeting and this meeting, downtown Chaska,
Oh,
sorry.
no.
Dagger to the heart. Sorry. It's a business in my head. I was thinking my own. Edible India, they are located over by Dunkin' Donuts, and they serve lunch and dinner. It's a to-go style Indian food restaurant, wonderful food, amazing owners. It's been so great to have them a part of the community. So,
And breakfast, I think. I think I saw on their
Did
social
you-
media.
the breakfast?
I haven't tried it.
oh,
But I feel like I
didn't-
saw that they do have
I
breakfast as
thought
well.
their hours were like lunch and dinner, so I was like, okay.
I think it's like
but-
9th or earlier in the morning, because I think you can get breakfast too,
Yeah,
so.
so they have
but I've
really,
not
they have a
yet
lot
tried.
of food offerings, and they're really great to work with you if you tell them based on like what your
Yeah.
spice level is. My husband was like profusely sweating
Oh.
off of one of the dishes, so they can bring the spice if you want it. Otherwise, it can be a little bit more mild. My son and I were able to do as well. So, let's see. MLK breakfast hosted by the Human Rights Commission this past Monday was an amazing event. Appreciate the commission for putting on that event and lining up a speaker and all the work and effort that goes into it. Shayla Michelle, she was great. Her message was powerful. And it was really great to be able to chat with her and her fiance, thank you, afterwards. And they came up to me and he said, if this event is any indication of how the community is, this is a place where, you know, we'd like to be, you know, in a way like that. They feel very comfortable here. They're, you know, they just were very invested in it, just that time spent with us. So I just think it's a nice reflection on our community when others come in and they really see Chaska shine and be welcoming and inclusive. So, we have a fishing contest coming up here this Saturday, the 1st at Fireman's Park.
Are they selling raffle tickets this year?
They are selling raffle tickets this year. There are probably still some booklets that are being passed around. I'm not sure what the update is, but I'm sure they still have some, according to the last email that I saw, like a week or two ago. So yeah, the raffle tickets, there's opportunities to win money. They also, in addition to that, so it's from noon to 3. The fishing contest, I think, starts at 1 o'clock. So even if you're not a fisherman, they still have plenty of fun things going on inside in the event center. They have a lot of like bucket raffles for, they get donations, different prize packs and things along those lines. And they also do, I think, where they have gift certificates and things like that they give away, little contests and stuff like that. So it's just really a fun event to be a part of. There's food, and the proceeds go to benefit the Relief Association, which is a wonderful thing. So if anybody can make that, that's really fun to make your way down there, and hopefully it doesn't sound like it's gonna be cold. It sounds like it's gonna be really nice out
Yeah.
this
32
weekend,
degrees.
so it's perfect. Let's see, we talked about that filter. The only other thing is that I believe, because I saw this and I didn't look in the physical thing, but we get a Minnesota Cities magazine, and I believe one of our police officers has an article or part of an article featured in there. Officer Panning wrote part of an article of how does your city support drones. He talks about our drone program. So just kudos to him for taking the time to write about that and to be featured in this publication. So
We actually, the council, or at least the three of us that have been on the council, got a survey about that. And I put in there that I really like getting to see our employees, because we've had a few other like features in there, like our growth through opportunities. So if you haven't taken that survey, take that survey, because it is really fun to see. It's in your email or maybe your trash, but go look for it. Because that's one thing I commented on. I really liked the article by Officer Panning too, and so I commented I really enjoy the contributions by city employees.
yeah, it's really a fun publication for you guys to look through. It kind of gives you an earbeat for other cities and what they're doing. And I always like, reading some of the questions and things and the answers that come about from that. So, and just the last thing, other than we have an Economic Development Authority meeting following this meeting here, but our next council meeting is next week. So February 3rd.
Yep,
And
and then we won't have one again until the 4th.
Yeah, so
Uh,
with President's
yeah.
Day, our schedule's off in February as well, so. Otherwise, that's it for me. Any other things that were missed, but otherwise I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn?
All right, motion by Shevlin,
Second?
second by Benish. All those in favor? Aye. You're adjourned. All right. Just let me know, Krista, when you're ready to go.
We are ready.
Okay, well, I'm not ready. I gotta get the agenda for the next thing. Either up on my screen or. Okay, switching gears. Okay. See you later. All right, I'd like to call the Chaska Economic Development Authority meeting for Monday, January 27th, 2025. Roll call, please.
Commissioner Hatfield.
Here?
Commissioner Benish.
Here.
Commissioner Shevlin.
Here.
Commissioner McGraw.
Here.
President Howard.
Here. All right, next on the agenda is to adopt the agenda. Any changes or recommendations at all on the agenda? Otherwise, entertain a motion to approve it.
Motion to adopt.
All right, motion by Commissioner Benish,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hatfield. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed, same sign. All right. Next on the agenda, we have approval of the previous meeting minutes. These meeting minutes are from January 6th of this year. Any questions, additions on the meeting minutes? Otherwise, I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to approve previous meeting minutes.
Motion by Commissioner Grau.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Shevlin. All right, any questions? Otherwise, all those in favor, say aye. Aye. Say opposed, same sign. All right. Minutes are approved. And then moving right along, we have our discussion items. So 5A, assignment and assumption of lease agreement for 314 Walnut Street North.
I'll let Elise take this one.
President Commissioners, For those of you who may not know, the city owns 314 Walnut Street, so basically right across 41 across Walnut Street, right by City Square. And we've owned that property since the 1960s when it was deeded to the city. It's been a number of things: City Hall, library, co-op learning center. But back in the early 2000s, we renovated that and began to lease that property out. It was a bed and breakfast for a while. But since 2011, it's been leased to North Star Regional, so a treatment facility. So our current lease agreement with North Star Regional began May of 2022, and it goes until April of 2027. So we're currently in the middle of one of the lease agreements with them. Late last year, we were approached by North Star Regional requesting an assignment of their lease to NSR MSO LLC. Basically, that is just a new kind of company that they've developed strictly for the management of their properties. You know, they have a number of these properties throughout the metro area. Really, they're just doing some internal reorganization, and they've asked us to reassign their current lease so that they can continue to lease from us. Myself, as well as the city attorney, reviewed that what they were asking for and found it to be acceptable. There's no changes in the lease as it stands. Really, it's more of a housekeeping item at this point in time. So staff is recommending a motion authorizing the president and executive director to execute the assignment and assumption of the lease agreement. Happy to take any questions.
Am I going crazy, or did we do something like this really similar in the last few years?
On this property?
I don't know if it was this property.
Lease.
Maybe it was the
Nice.
renewing.
It was
that I-
just the renewal.
It's the
Yeah, it
renewing
was
I'm
the
thinking of.
renewal.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, that was my only question.
I mean, has there been a lot of name changes since North Star has come in, or is it?
Well, they used to be five-star recovery. And they were 5 stars for a long time, but I think, well, certainly since the last lease renewal, they've been North Star, but I think when they first came in 2011, I think they were still 5-star.
But this sounds like it's not a name change of them. It's a company that will do the, the holdings and stuff for that. Yeah, okay.
Okay.
No, shouldn't say that.
Also sounds like the company is also owned by.
Yes.
Yeah, 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 it's a wholly owned, yeah.
And just as a note, they've been a really good tenant, so.
Yeah. And I guess I can throw up there a motion to approve the lease.
Yeah, any other questions or anything? Otherwise, we have a motion on the floor by Councilmember Shevlin. Okay, a second. Commissioner. I knew I was gonna do that.
You were doing really good for
I
that.
was,
She's
I
out
was-
multitasking.
I
so
was
we'll give her-
staying focused.
Yeah, yep.
Second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Hatfield. Any other discussion at all? Otherwise, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right. Motion carries. All right, that moves us along to the second 5B discussion item, adopt EDA resolution.
Isn't this what we just talked about?
Yep.
Okay, I was gonna say, when I read through it,
Number
I thought it was the same one.
2025-9, ratification of bond sale, lease revenue refunding bond series 2025B. Yes. because
Yep,
it's an
so
EDA.
this is the exact same item that was on the council agenda, but because it was ultimately EDA, so the city council has to authorize the EDA to do things. So they authorized the EDA to sell the debt to begin with. So that's why the council had to ratify the refunding. The EDA is actually the one that has the debt. And so we have to also have the EDA ratify it too. So that's what this action is.
I thought when I read through it, it was the same thing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
See no reason not to do it this time, so motion to
Change their
approve.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. For those watching, most likely you've been watching and you watched the council meeting that just happened that we talked at length about this. So we're not just breezing over
No,
this.
and some, it does get confusing because the EDA is legally from the city.
Mhm.
It's part of the city. But it has its own debt issuance authority and things like that. So we use the EDA for different types of debt issuance, or if we're providing assistance to different companies that are coming in, things like that. So it can be confusing, but even though it's the same people that serve as both boards, it is two separate groups.
Yeah, and the nice thing is we're saving $1.3 million.
Yep.
Yes, so it's huge savings. So it's great that they were able to do that. All right, well, if there are no other questions, I'd entertain a motion to.
I think we already have a motion.
Oh, we do?
Yep.
Oh, you're right. And we have a second, do we have a
Nope, not a
second?
second.
No second.
No second.
Ooh, okay, so we have a motion by Councilman or Commissioner Shevlin. And entertain.
Second.
Okay, second by Commissioner Gra. Any other discussion? All right, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, opposed, same sign. Carries. All right, that moves us along to other business. Anybody have any other EDA business that they'd like to chat about here? No, hearing none. All right, well, that's perfect. So, entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
All right, a motion by Commissioner Benish,
Second.
second by Commissioner Hatfield. All those in favor, say aye.
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 All right, we're adjourned. Thank you.